Well, good morning. Welcome to Wednesday in the Word. This morning, we're going to read two verses out of 1 Peter chapter 5, and they are verses 6 and 7. Listen to what God's Word says. Humble yourselves, therefore, under God's mighty hand, that he may lift you up in due time. Cast all of your anxiety on him, because he cares for you. I don't know what all of you struggle with. I do know this: we all struggle. We all have concerns. We all have worries. At some point, at some time, we all deal with anxiety. Some of us deal with anxiety on a daily basis. Some of us maybe only deal with anxiety every now and then. But either way, all of us, we have struggles. All of us, we have worries. We have concerns. We have anxiety. I love God's word here, and it starts off in verse 6 and says, humble yourselves before God. You know, being humble before God means that we recognize his sovereignty. We recognize his sovereignty in the heavens and on earth. We recognize his sovereignty even in our own lives. We recognize our need of God's provisions and God's protection, the provisions that only he can give, the protection that only he can give. When I think about humbling myself before God, I think about dependence. You know, being humble before God means that we depend on God. And God is faithful, and God is available, and God will provide, and God will protect. Peter goes on to say, for all of us to cast our anxiety on him, to cast our worries on God. Why? Because he cares for us. I want you to think about that word cares. That means that God is interested in every detail of our lives. That means God is concerned about every step that we make. He's concerned about everything that is going on in our lives. There's no detail too small that God's not interested in. There's no circumstance that is too great that God can't move in. And so I love these encouraging words from Peter, especially today. There's so much chaos in the world. There's so much division in our world. And on top of that, we've got our daily lives at home with our families, in our workplace, even in our churches and our small communities. There's just so much going on, and the stress can be piled on and piled on. And before too long, we can really cave into it. And so before that happens, I pray that you will do what Peter says in 1 Peter chapter 5. I pray that you and I both will practice humility before God, that we will humble ourselves before God, depend on God. He will be there for us. He's always there for us. He's faithful. And I pray that you and I, before we let the stress get the best of us, before we let the anxiety take over us, that we will just humble ourselves before God and cast that anxiety, cast the worries, cast the weight of all those anxieties and those worries on God. He'll take it. Why? Because he cares for us. He's interested in the details of our lives, the little details, the big details, and all the details in between. He's concerned for us. And God is active. He's alive, and he will do something. He will do something about those anxieties. He'll do something about those worries. He'll do something about that stress. You just have to trust him. So I pray that this word today in 1 Peter chapter 5 gives you strength. I hope it gives you encouragement. And I hope that you will not only be a hearer of this word, I pray that you'll be a doer. I love you. I appreciate you spending time with me on Wednesday mornings with Wednesday in the Word. And I look forward to being with you next week. Have a great day.